Hello and welcome to Small Music Scene, the ultimate underground music advocate, where every week I review 10 of the best under the radar records that have come out over the last week or so, spanning all genres around the world. And before we begin, this week's Small Tea of the Week goes to Zand, the matriarch of Ugly Pop. It was just a few days ago they put out a new single, Battery Acid, and there's fantastic stuff as always. If you're heading out to see Victorian on their European/UK tour in October, Zand are the main support, so make sure to catch, if you're going to their shows, get down early to see Zand. They are superb stuff. All hail Ugly Pop. Yeah. Anyway, on with the show. Alright, kicking us off this week at number 1 is Tallies with Patina. One of Canada's most beloved and acclaimed underground acts are back with their sophomore album, and I think it's a magnum opus if I do say so myself. It is a sublimely blissful dream pop record, headed by some of the most beautifully luscious harmonies, steady going rhythms, and highly defined vivid guitar lines. And there's this fantastically silky and loose aura that radiates brightly throughout. It's very soft and pastel in nature, and it gets you feeling all nice and chilled. With the exception of those particular tunes, like the catchy Wound Up Tight, where they choose to up the energy a bit for something more fuzzy and rocking in tone, or the likes of Special and its frequent blustery bursts, or Memento and its dazzling chorus, so there's some appreciated diversity to their so far successful formula. The lyrics cover life not turning out exactly as planned, and you're left being wistful and cozied up in a bubble with you and your faraway dreams. And you're occupied in a more pleasant and carefree past, we're always happier. But meanwhile, in the present, the romantic side of things is becoming a bit of a chore, and keeping it together is not easy. There is definitely wholesome love to be offered from both ends, but there's so many obstacles that you can't help get in the way, and thus there's plenty of strain that comes from that, wrapping up in the inevitable breakup. So yeah, it's not pretty, but hey, that's life after all. And despite that reality, the band makes sure to finish on an optimistic note, because negativity is only temporary. There's always much positivity to look forward to. Tallies only improve with every release, and as I said, they've hit a home run with Patina. It's a sensational album. I can't help but love it to bits, if it wasn't obvious already. Well, at least for my money, this has firmly cemented the quintet without a doubt to be the finest dream pop act in the world today. And I know that's a bold statement, I know, but hey, that's my opinion, and there's enough evidence to support it. Right, at number 2 we have Bastions with Majestic Desolation. It's been 7 years since the Welsh alternative hardcore outfit originally bid farewell, and they do with their heads held up high. But then suddenly, BAM! Here they are reunited and back in the market. And they kick off this new era with a superb sophomore album. A hauntingly dark and mysterious intro initiates matters before they unleash into a mighty tirade and keep thundering on from there on out, switching between these raging barrages that shake you up with a volatile energy and brief, slow, atmospheric yet still brooding sections. You've got animalistic, highly convincing vocals, potent guitar work, battering rhythms, and some smashing choruses too, like with Acres of Love, and tracks like Heavy Hearts and Coatfields are just a total mega blast. Coming in a comfortably breezy 25 minutes, it flies in fast, and you wouldn't ever find yourself disinterested. Especially given the writing, which is focused on how we are consumed by all the negative elements that exist and that drag us down in this world. Losing trust, betrayal, being trapped alone, mental breakdowns, being manipulated to serve the will of others. But in the midst of it, there's that tiniest hint of hope, and we try our hardest to fight back, endure the pain, because no matter what, we as human beings do have worth. Our existence is justified, and we should be hanging on to that. I think it's a concept that rings all the more true with the current state of things here in 2022, you know. You couldn't have asked for a better comeback. Bastions have killed it with this record, which is both sonically immense and lyrically resonant. Don't be surprised if the group swiftly rise up the ranks in the near future. At number 3 we have Cassidy with Wandering as Water. The very adept Paisley singer-songwriter is another one of those acts who's unfortunately fell out of my radar in the last few years, but has come roaring back and recaptured my attention in impressive fashion. To be more specific, with this album, easily the man's best work yet. His voice is just chock full of soul, and it's lined with this pure strong verve. And the writing is stellar and mightily spellbinding. The Celtic instrumentations, when they're utilised, are simply top notch and fantastically composed. They bring the music to a great, astonishing life. So it's not only well performed sonically, but also contributes in a big way to the atmosphere and enhancing the audience's attention and investment levels. Plus the folk pop rock melodies in general are excellent too, and they also up the buzz when they're at their optimum. And the acoustic chord work is on fine form as well. In terms of tracks, I Am Free is so grand and inspiring. The likes of Tell Me Who You Are and Death of a Stargazer are such infectiously lively tunes that get you stepping with glee. And then certain cuts like the incredibly heartwarming and loving Tarka, the dueling Yellow Moon, the forlorn Greater Love, and the tepid and thoughtful God Help the Boy rank among the strongest. I think that area of music seems to be Michael's core speciality in terms of impactful content, and it's so freshly and perfectly mixed and mastered. Through and through, a top-rate album from Michael Cassidy, the best showcase of his talents to date, and it was really satisfying to get myself reacquainted with him and his musicianship after too long. At number 4, we have Psychwardblur with Lost in My Doubt. So we get a slice of emo rap from the Devon artist, and damn son, this is some strikingly vulnerable stuff we've got going here. In a display of brutal honesty and apprehension, he completely tears the walls down and he vents and discharges his true feelings, in the process exposing his pure unbridled anguish and suffering. While his actual rapping is quite soft, low-key and restrained, his words are anything but, explicitly highlighting that he badly wants to escape both physically and from his relentless mental struggles. The fact that suicidal thoughts have crossed his mind, he's so anxious and paranoid that everybody on the planet hates him, he ends up sinking to drug use, and he's driven to emotional breakdowns, he becomes stubborn to any positive solutions that might get him back on his feet, the experience of heartbreak has ripped him to shreds, and he becomes obsessed with trying to make amends and fix everything, despite the situation being far beyond repair. But it doesn't matter, he's becoming lost and all too consumed and addicted to this futile idea. It's all really bleak and bitter, but really captivating all the same. You can't turn away, he just draws you into his plights. We've got real good beats, a nice gloomy and earthy production, the guest showings are on top form too. All of those are additional bonuses to what is, if it wasn't already clear enough already, a blunt, dark and heart-wrenching record, miles away from sunshine and rainbows, but truly effective. At number 5 we have Damaged Goodz with, well, Damaged Goodz. So Brian Jameson, I'm quite familiar with by this point through his pair of collaborations with Butterscotch, the two brothers from Another Planet Records. But now the Scottish MC has a smashing solo EP on over here. Well, I say solo, it's not exactly true given the insane number of talents he has joining in with this one, but we'll get to that. As usual, he is committed and focused in his rapping. There is no slack to it. It's all legitimate, there's no filter, it's just switched off and unplugged and it's quite intense. There's a lot going on here lyrically, like that inner fear of living a life without purpose, and now dedicating that effort to make something out of nothing. And he goes on about how he feels alienated, outcast, he's a square peg in a round hole sort of deal, and I can believe that. He openly admits that he got himself in trouble in the past and he's rubbed people the wrong way, but he fearlessly stands his ground and keeps charging headlong anyway. Aware that more than likely it's going to spark more troubles, but at the end of the day, that's just how he is. But he'll confidently take the blow and suffer the consequences for the sake of free speech, especially in a world overly engrossed in, a cancel culture mentality, as he digs into it a few points. And he broadcasts his anger at the political state, spitting venom towards those in charge in higher classes of society. Hell, he often fires hate towards those on his level, like past acquaintances, former friends, those that have screwed him, even stout exes who fire right back. Nobody is safe from his crosshairs. Joining Brian are a lot of new faces to me, but all get the job done, including Marianne Kennedy, the strong team up of Mad Hat, Tickle and Natalie Lynch. There's also a few returning names that I recognise and appreciate, like the boys in CCTV, the underrated Mog, Lauren Gilmore from Nova Sound Studios / The Girls Who Cries Wolf, and even our old pal Butterscotch steps in. We get sick beats, scratches and production work. It's consistently really tight from wire to wire. Huge credit to everyone involved in that field there. They all chip in some superb sonic material for Brian to bounce off of. And there's a variety of outstanding courses like with I'm Afraid of Being Nothing or Fat Rocky, which has this hot contagious energy that hypes you up. Alien has a bloody awesome sound and a fiercely catchy hook. The opening and ending of Cold Crush has a genuinely haunting vibe to it. That girl's voice is weirdly very impressionable. Self-Sabotage has these cool, dark electronic influences smooshed in. FML's got the heavy brass and ensemble singing, I love that. And Keep the Dream Alive has a positively inspiring pitch to it. This is a big win for Brian and the Damaged Goodz brand. This is a brilliant album that exceeded my personal expectations. And I think it will stand as a noteworthy highlight of Scottish hip-hop in 2022. At number 6 we have Goldie Vargas with Golden. Based in LA, the young indie pop artist has started to get people noticing their talents as of late via a number of memorable singles, and now they come tightly packed together here in their first EP. Canyon is a great, emotionally brimming, acoustic based piece that emphasises the hollowness and damage to your self-confidence after a breakup. The synthetic Mary Jane perfectly nails how it's up to yourself first and foremost to beat addiction. Nothing will improve unless you hold yourself accountable. Strawberry Kisses is both catchy and wholesomely affectionate. Moving in reverse sends tingles around the body, while Goldie struggles in coping with trying to break out of the rut and proceeding forward with life. And finally, the beautifully chilling gravity reflects on the major shifting power that love has and how it can really truly affect a person. The lyrics constantly have your attention, and Goldie's performances throughout are really nice and authentic. She clearly believes in what she sings and writes. From end to end, I really loved it. A fabulously stunning debut by Goldie Vargas, to say the least. At number 7 we have Fidra with Broken Ground. It's the debut EP of Craig Salter's collaborative Scottish folk project, and a really respectable first effort this is. Craig has quite the hearty voice. He's really a suited fit for this particular music, which is so fresh and crystalline, and it has such a strong organic purity to it. We get lucid strings and Pacific guitar chords mixing in with gentle acoustic strums, and these produce these elegantly flowing melodies. And we get effectively picturesque writing that tells of interesting wee stories that thematically and narratively link together. Like travelling far from home, seeking out your kin, fighting to the bitter end with every last ounce of blood in your body during the harshest of times, and standing your ground with your held up high even when all hope seems lost. It's atmospheric, it's intriguing, and in a way inspiring too. For all fans of folk, or just good music in general, Fidra comes recommended from yours truly. At number 8 we have Last Victorian Death Squad with Snow Starcrossed. A meeting of the minds between musicians from England and Latvia, the latter being a first here under the Small Music Scene banner. And the globe-trotting shoegaze group are out with their latest AA EP, and this is another case of an act doing tons in so little time. First is Snow, which is from the words go, a high-octane, fervent noise rock belter that darts through with ringing synths and sweet energised guitar shreds. It's quick, but it satisfies hard. And then you have Starcrossed, which rides more at a medium tempo, but still ticks the boxes with great vocals, interesting lyrics, a contagious bobbing beat, a radiant atmospheric buzz, and a memorable chorus. Your money's worth is paid off with those two alone, but that's not all. They throw in a fab cover of Planet Girl and a nice acoustic rendition of their older song Alice, giving you a double bang for your buck. An excellent product, all in all. At number 9 we have Touccan with Full Sentimental. I discovered a French math rock pairing a few weeks ago while scouring the libraries of one of my favourite independent Scottish-based labels, Ripcord Records. I checked out their first full-length album right here, and I was digging it. We get great, dashing instrumental tunes built from the combo of diverse riff displays that can at one minute be flashy and fancy, then the next quite aggressive and assertive, just battering out the chords in hefty punchy fashion, then slipping back into something sleeker, steadier and more melodic by nature. Then on the other half you've got the drumming, and it's pretty much the same story. Half the time it's nimble, stable and solid, then you get these big banging eardrum shattering slams that ring with a fair amount of force, and then these brisk high tempo charges. And then on top of that, they occasionally slip in some spirited yells now and again for that extra dose of power, plus a number of neat ambient moments that have a mystically pleasant streaming flow to them, which serve as nice little breaks in between the more bustling sections. Energetic, invigorating and all around enjoyable, this is a record that I can highly recommend for those who consider themselves keen admirers of math rock / instrumental rock. This is worth sinking your teeth into. And finally at number 10 we have Exaltation with Under Blind Reasoning. From the beautifully scenic green country of New Zealand comes the darkest and blackest and most hellish of death metal groups with their first full-length release. Right from the offset, you know you're in for a mean old grungy and grimy experience, and that's exactly what is delivered here, with a sequence of disgusting tracks coated in a dank and unpleasant varnish, all in a good way of course, just to clarify. The bass chords are steel thick, the drum bars hit hard in palpable squalls, the riff displays are furiously fearsome, and taking charge of these brute, devilish growls, they do a cracking job creating a harsh, fiendish auditory environment. So if doom and gloom is right up your alley, Exaltation have it in spades via this great album. Badass cover by the way. And ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end to this episode. So thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Make sure to check out all 10 acts are featured on this show, and also check out Zand. Of course, we've got the Spotify playlist, Small Music Scene Volume 1, which features a song from every single act that's been featured in Small Music Scene so far. Any submissions, you can send them to here, to smallmusicreviews@hotmail.com. And I think that's about does it. So this has been Small Music Scene, the ultimate underground music advocate. Cheerio.